I got into a prayer with the universal force of creation, with the life source of all creation. It was more of a prayer to get the Indian subcontinent into the steps of prosperity, different events and circumstances contributing to the prosperity of the Indian subcontinent. It started with my vision in the year 2000, on 1999, towards September, October, and I started to pray for the Indian subcontinent. I would say that the prayers have a lot of effect, It's not just me, a lot of people would have prayed, but from 2000, there have been a lot of events and circumstances contributing to the Indian subcontinent's future and for the enhancement of the Indian subcontinent. As we understand, the Indian subcontinent was the most prosperous region on the earth. It accounted for nearly 25% of the world's trade. Today, the largest countries and the greatest trading partners are just 8 to 10%. But the Indian subcontinent during this time was one of the most richest in the world. It also meant that the riches were not just among the very wealthy people, it was kind of distributed also along different societal lines. But there was a kind of system by which people did their own kind of professions, which they were doing. Evolution of culture, traditions, languages within the Indian subcontinent. The science was at its epitome. Ayurveda, which was one of the basics of the health systems, was given complete importance. The Vedic traditions, the Vedic information. There were scholars who were meditating and learning on the different herbs in terms of Ayurveda. It's a system of medicine which was one of the most efficient systems of medicines in tune with nature. And during this period, yoga also was given primary importance. The systems of Ayurveda and yoga flourished across India, and especially in the kingdoms of the south, and especially around Kerala. Some of the basic Ayurvedic traditions of the Indian subcontinent, the basic Ayurvedic ingredients which was exclusive to that area, were developed and turned into medicines which was circulated across the whole world. Scholars from across the world came to India and were amazed by the system of Ayurveda and in yoga. As of now, we know that all across the world, yoga is being practiced in its fullness. They find the enormous benefits of yoga, especially yoga which deals with breathing and helps create a balance. I'm not talking about the advanced yoga stages of different kinds of postures. I'm talking about some of the basic yogas, which starts with the breathing and the basic exercises that can help humanity across to get a balance in life. It was started during and prospered during the Mauryan dynasty. Also, sensual energies were given importance. The Kama Sutra period, also known as the Mauryan dynasty era, gave importance to sensual and sexual energies. So you had depictions in the most revered places of all kinds of sensual energies. Sensual energies during that time also meant devotion to arts, cultures, dance, music, songs, anything to do with creativity, which included paintings, which included all kinds of traditional handicrafts, which were developed during those times, which gave importance to the sensual energies. And once the dynasty during the time gave importance to sensual energies during the Indian subcontinent, India prospered. So my prayer during the 2000 or 1999 an intense prayer was to bring back prosperity into the Indian subcontinent. As I recalled, some of my generations, around to up to 5,000 years ago, we were all in the traditions of the Indian culture, deep traditions, and we were from a tradition of society which were completely into knowledge, also known as Brahmins in India during those times, for more than 5 to 6,000 years. So when I really looked into our traditions, I wanted our Indian subcontinent to go back into the steps of prosperity, like a horse which runs 1,000 miles. I wanted India to initiate the greatest steps so that India can move into prosperity. So it was just a prayer, it was a meditation, along with many others in India, which I believe. And I was amazed that from the years of 2000, there has been a lot of changes, events and circumstances which helped India move into the modern era, starting from the year 2K problem. There was a massive problem across the world towards the year of 2000, when people believed across the world that there was a slight mistake in the computing software of all of the operating systems in the world, which would make the timings wrong in most of the computers across the world. And then they looked forward to India during those times to make changes to help with the code, which will help not to disrupt the systems of the world. And that was the first step towards prosperity of India in the software section. From that year onwards, when people sought India to solve the problem of the year 2K problem, software programmers were given importance. The software industry came into prominence. Our meditation, along with many others for the Indian subcontinent, started to bear fruit. India started to be recognized within a matter of 3 to 4 years, and by the 5th year, India was recognized as a powerhouse in the software center, especially with young programmers who had the ability to program languages. And that was kind of exclusive to India, because the Indian software programmers were committed to what they were doing. And if they were given a job and a project, they would complete it to the satisfaction. And people started to recognize Indian talent. Now, this is not a story by which we say that we were directly responsible for the rejuvenation of India, but we believe that our prayers were one among the most important prayers in the world, along with the universal force to bring back prosperity into India. So right from the years of 2000 till today, there have been drastic positive changes for the Indian subcontinent, leading to India regaining the prosperity status among the nations over the world. India is recognized as today as one of the most developing countries in the world, the Indian subcontinent. When I mean the Indian subcontinent, I mean also the countries which are bordering India. The subcontinent of the Indian Ocean has been recognized over tens and thousands of years. The contributions of the people, their intellect, the contributions towards the creative source of the universe has been recognized. And it's this rejuvenation of the Indian subcontinent which brings the energy of creativity to the world, along with all the other creative sources of all religions, traditions, cultures across the world. We work in sync with, once we are in tune with the energy of creativity and do not give importance just to our bodily wants alone, but work for the future of the future generations and the future unborn children. Our lives on earth our cultures on earth, our countries on earth, our traditions on earth, our belief systems across the earth will grow into a better system of living life, prosperity, spiritual abundance, health, wealth, and spiritual being into the future. Let's replenish our earth. I would say that the future of the Indian subcontinent into the next 100,000 years and more is only through creativity. We should focus all of our development on the universal energies which sustain all life, the creative force which the godly force has given. All our beliefs, all our systems, all of our improvements into the future, all of our inventions in the future should be in tune with the future of all generations to come and the unborn children. As of now, as we observe that much of importance is being given to the stories which we believe in, which would be absolutely true. But we should move more steps ahead in terms of creativity of our stories and give importance to creative solutions to all of the stories which we believe in, which already happened. But these stories should not create divisions, should not create all kinds of distractions within the Indian subcontinent and devote energies to the energies of turmoil. All the stories which we believe in, all which would help us in our traditions, culture, language, in our belief systems. Every story we believe in which happened, which is absolutely true, must be given much more importance in terms of creativity for solutions, so that every person within the Indian subcontinent, every religion within the Indian subcontinent prospers in harmony. Because that's the only way for prosperity across the Indian subcontinent and across the world. Indian subcontinent is one of the most important pillars of prosperity for across the world. If the Indian subcontinent does not prosper, it would be like one of the three pillars which is not strong, and then the entire world is affected. So it's very important to give importance to the creative aspects, to the energies which sustain all life. Instead of dwelling on stories and creating divisions, our stories should move into the creative aspects, and we should dwell on solutions in terms of creativity. All of our stories, all of our traditions, all of our beliefs, all of our cultures, all of our systems of life in the Indian subcontinent will improve for the better, and all traditions, cultures, languages, religions will improve for the better in terms of creativity, and there will be a resurgence of health, wealth, and spiritual prosperity for the Indian subcontinent and the world into the future once we dwell on the creative energies of the creative source of the universe, the source code of all life, the source code of all blessings, the source code of all abundance. Let's replenish our earth. It was also during the past 8 to 9 years that we enabled a kind of code within the human subconscious through our prayers, through our meditation with the universal force. We enabled a sense of code by which people in the business world, especially the Western business world, which included the most prominent channels, which included CNBC, Bloomberg, and some of the most important business channels across the world, to focus on India. Till then, India was given a kind of wrong meaning, among the Western world. Around 8 to 9 years back, till then, there was more information about India which was completely on the turmoil energy, or which was misinformation about the development of India, about the people. So we wanted to enable a kind of expression within the minds of individuals so that they could relate the Indian subcontinent to a more respectable association in their minds. So during my prayers and meditation, I got certain words which is very important for the business media, which included the greatest business media houses of the world, which brings in investments to different countries through the news they project, which brings in wealthy people from across the world to invest in places where they say they have to invest. These channels, as I mentioned, were some of the biggest business channels in the world, which included CNBC, Bloomberg, Fox News Business. So we wanted to enable the code in meditation with the divine force of creation, in meditation with the energy which sustains all life on earth, to bring back the code of prosperity for India. And some of the most important words were during this time is industry. When we talk about industry, it is one of the most important words in the business language, because every time the word industry is spoken, it's associated with projects, it's associated with investments. And the word industry, the true meaning of it starts from the beginning of the Indus Valley civilization. And the Indus Valley civilization was one of the oldest civilizations on earth. And whenever people started to mention industry in the English language, they started to associate the Indian subcontinent with the beginning of business, the beginning of the modern culture, the beginning of modern traditions, the beginning of knowledge. And that kind of subconscious association among just the word on industry, just a focus on the word industry, changed the attitude of the Western media, the Western people, and the people across the world to respect India more in terms of the contribution about the Indian subcontinent that included all the neighboring countries of India. People got to recognize, people start to understand, because every time they use the word industry, something in their mind struck that what they're doing in present is a reflection of what India had contributed many thousands of years back in terms of evolution of culture, in terms of business, in terms of organizing structures, in terms of business, which was one of the greatest contributions of the Indus Valley civilizations. So in our own small way, in my own small way, I helped India, to my thinking and to my belief, to get into an era of prosperity among the people of the earth. Once the people of the earth start to respect a nation or the Indian subcontinent, and they believe that the Indian subcontinent has contributed to the present business structures of the world, they would start to invest in something which gave them the foundation for what they're doing now, for which they're prospering now. And that was one of the greatest starts to investment into the Indian subcontinent. I would say many people would have prayed, many people would have also given their energies for the prosperity of the Indian subcontinent. So the prosperity of the Indian subcontinent should be towards creativity, through the energies which sustain all life into the future generations. We should devote our future in terms of creativity for the unborn generations of the world. We no longer dwell only on our stories. Our stories are also important. It's a very important part of our culture. It's an important part of our traditions. It's an important part of our beliefs. But we should develop our stories into an era of creativity, into modernity. Along with science, traditions must grow. Creativity should be given the most important aspect in the Indian subcontinent, by which all traditions, all languages, all cultures will prosper, evolve and grow to the prosperity of the Indian subcontinent. You will find more equal systems helping all people prosper into the future. As of now, we know that anything into the future will be that most people on earth, all people on earth, will have the basic sustenance, which includes food, water, shelter, education, and they're given the opportunities and the basic foundational systems to get into the mindset of creativity. And when people of India give importance to creativity than stories which might create differences, we will give importance to our stories, but based on creativity. Creativity which will solve the problems associated with stories. And once we focus all of our energies towards creativity and solutions will occur for any kind of differences, any kind of conflicts within the Indian subcontinent. Create an example for all other traditions, cultures, and together with all other traditions and cultures of the world, the Indian subcontinent will be the shining light, just like as it was 350 years back, but with much more predominance in terms of giving importance to the life systems which gives us all the energies from within the universe, the source code of prosperity, the source code of health, wealth, and spiritual well-being. Let's replenish our earth. Through our meditation and with resonance with the universal force which sustains all life, we brought the word industry to resemble a tree in the minds of the subconscious of the majority of people on earth. I especially, during my meditation, watched television programs which included business, which was concentrated on business channels, just like the greatest of business channels which promote investments across different regions of the world, which included CNBC, Bloomberg, Fox Business, which were the leading channels of the world in terms of English messages across the world. And once the English channels, which were the most prominent in the world, passed on the messages, all other languages followed suit, and people translated the basic essence of the development of the Indian subcontinent, which started around 8 to 9 years back in the subconscious of the most important people in the business community, was industry. As I said, the word industry, and the word industry was the resemblance of a tree. The industry, the industry is the first tree, the first civilization on earth, which brought about a system of business, a system which is the foundation of the modern business traditions, the foundation of all industries of the world. And whenever the word industry came into the minds of the most important people in the business world and anyone related to business in terms of viewership of the television channels, they used to reflect back into the basic tree of life, which provides the foundation to the modern business world. And without respecting the foundation, which is industry, the Indus Valley civilization, which gave the world the first clear definition of business, of running very efficient business, which was one of the oldest cultures and traditions and systems of living on earth. People started to respect the word industry and associate with the Indian subcontinent, bringing about a much better understanding about the Indian subcontinent, respect for the people of the Indian subcontinent.